Hello, everyone. I'm Adam with Demiplane. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. As always, we are going to run through the lineup, which is latest updates, what we are currently working on, or what we have just recently completed, and then upcoming what's on deck on the short-term roadmap for us to work on. And then you can ask questions all along the way. We have our magical friend Demibot collecting all of those in Twitch chat for us right now. All you have to do is type the word question in front of the question, and I will get to as many of those as I have time for at the end of the stream. We've got several things to talk about today, so let's jump in first of all with latest updates. I really, the entire point of us doing a Marvel Multiverse RPG Nexus was where I could use some of this art in a dev update. Like that was the entire reason that we've gone through this whole process. So you see the mighty Thor over here, which is incredible because as of yesterday, Rules Update 1.1 is live for the Marvel Multiverse RPG, and this is bringing some pretty significant changes. It might look like some small changes on paper, but the way that they have an impact on the game and how you're playtesting the game out there is definitely felt. So first of all, we've got some new characters. We've got She-Hulk. We have Dr. Jane Foster, the mighty Thor. I'm trying to think who else we have. We've got Sabretooth, which was a great addition in my mind. We saw the Kingpin, or if you saw anything on our homepage for a very brief moment, some autocorrect got in there, and we had King Ping, which was, I think, a new character that controls all forms of electronic communication. And we all know how dastardly and villainous all of those pings and notifications are these days. So actually a really great idea for a character, I think. Make sure that I get some kind of creation credit for that. But yeah, all kinds of new characters that you can check out there. We also have a pretty big change where when you're using a fight attack, this is now, instead of targeting agility, it's going to target might defense. So I think it's going to go a long way towards kind of making or preventing agility from becoming that god stat, like we know, dexterity, and some of those others sometimes fall into that, category. So big changes. Check that out. You can go to demiplane.com and navigate to the Marvel Multiverse RPG Nexus. And then with Pathfinder Nexus Early Access, we have right now we are working on the content for Dark Archive and Bloodlords. So lots of activity going on behind the scenes for that, getting everything ready for early access. And then in our character engine. So first of all, we're going to kind of look at that game and character engine. I have a sneak peek under the hood into how the engine editor works today. Now, I will go ahead and warn you, if you are looking for pretty pictures, that's not what you're going to see today. It very much so looks like spaghetti, but it is in an attempt to kind of demonstrate some of the work, and it's just literally just two small screens of work that are going on behind the scenes to make all of this happen, and also to hopefully kind of illustrate some of the flexibility that we're building into the character management platform with Demiplane and with what's going on with Nexus. But right now the team is working on feat prerequisites, so we've got to go through, I think, 1,000 feats right now and make sure that all our prerequisites, the data is in the right categories. So we have gone through every single feat in Pathfinder 2E. We have determined what the different types of prerequisites are. We categorize those. We have normalized that data, and the team is currently applying all those categories to all of the feats. And then we have some UI flow tweaks that have been going on. So lots of activity on the back end of things, but we are also getting to a point where on the front end, so I've shown a few of the preview images in the past of how that flow looks. We're getting to a point where we're starting to use that kind of in a straw man form in some of our games, and we're saying, okay, hey, wait, this doesn't make as much sense as we would like for it to, and some of those tweaks are going into place. And you will probably never know what I'm talking about exactly there, but those are the kind of stories that I'll share in another year's time after everything has been out for a while. And I can tell, kind of an old timer, slap my knee and say, back when we were making that, this is how it actually worked, and we made the change. So all of that is happening right now as well, and the team is working really, really hard. We are starting to get to that point where we're giddy about just the possibilities of all of this. And the really, really key thing is we are doing this for Pathfinder, but the intent is, as we are building this, we've done it in a way that as we start to move to all these other great games out there that we are supporting with the Nexus platform, those are going to start to have a domino effect, and the platform is going to power that. So really starting to get excited. We can see it, we can taste it. So we'll provide more updates as we are able to. And again, I know that it is never. I am a fan of many things. I am literally surrounded in this room in all directions. I mean, I have things on the ceiling that are representative of things that I love to be a fan of, and I know that it is tough to wait and tough to be patient when there's something that you love that you're waiting on. But I also know how much I love it when anyone who is producing content out there, entertainment, anything in a game, when they put something together and they do it in the right way, and when that payoff happens, that is what we really are shooting for here. And so we'll keep you posted. And then Vampire Nexus Early Access. We are working on Chicago by Night and Cults of the Blood Gods right now. Again, we chose those two books because they highlight the missing clans and the missing discipline of Oblivion. So all of that is also starting to come together. And we're talking weeks, not months on that. And so we will see that out pretty soon here as well. And let's see, what is next? Oh, yeah, the aforementioned Under the Hood on the game engine. Now, again, you might not be able to see this because I wanted to show kind of the scale and scope as opposed to the specifics, because to be honest, the specifics aren't probably going to make too much sense to you in this state anyway. Now, one day they will, because the intent of us putting together this kind of platform is for you to be able to have the keys to that car one of these days. So that's also a very exciting thing, and I do emphasize the one of these days part. It won't be like that just completely out of the gate, but it is something that we absolutely have planned. But what we are looking at here, and there you can maybe see now why I call it spaghetti, because we have noodles all over the place with these connectors between these nodes in this engine editor. But all of this is built on logic, and this is the logic that is underlying everything that in this case is going on for Pathfinder. Now, what we're looking at on the screen here is the engine that is going to build and end up displaying all the various types of options that you would have for an ancestry. So what we're talking about here, just this one screenshot, is not, this is not by any means the builder or the digital sheet that you're looking at. This is one small piece of that, which is ancestry options and how they would display when you are going through the builder to make those selections that you need to make, and so on. So this is one screen for ancestry here. And then I do have a second screen. And so on this second screen, this is what you are going to see when you make the selection of the barbarian class for Pathfinder. So once you choose Barbarian, these are the things that you're going to see. Now, this is actually what is powering first level of the Barbarian. So we've got the first level of the Barbarian. This is kind of laying the groundwork for everything else that has to happen for what's going on for that Barbarian. And we will be layering on, the other class features that come at subsequent levels from that. So again, this is very much in progress, but I wanted to show just very briefly today that the team, these are just a couple of screens that out of hundreds that we're currently working on to make all of this happen. And hopefully, the thing that you can start to see here is the way that this works. If you're familiar with modding in some of the modern first-person shooter games and some other video games out there, the kinds of mods that you can create, it really is something. Like it has a ton of flexibility. If you can use some kind of math or some kind of logic or some kind of string manipulation, you can make a ton of things happen. And so this is the reason that we've gone in this direction. This is the reason that, in my past life, I remember that alternate optional rules would pop up sometimes, big new books with all the new juicy options that everyone wants to sink their teeth into. Those would come, and it would be just a moment of existential terror that we would never be able to implement what those things were doing inside the game rule system itself, because of what was underlying under that hood. We are trying our hardest here to create a system that is going to be flexible enough and powerful enough to be able to implement those changes and it not take months or years to make that happen. As you can imagine, that is really going to be very tough for us to really make it in all the ambitions and the vision that we have for Demiplane, if we didn't have that flexibility and power. Because again, it's not just Pathfinder 2E that we're supporting, which happens to be the best pilot we could have asked for, because the level of complexity is really unparalleled out there. The number of options unparalleled. And so, if we can bring Pathfinder to life in this kind of a flexible sandbox, then it is going to give us what we need to bring all of these other great games, including a game that we haven't quite announced yet that we're literally working on right now that is, I am so terribly excited about that I want to tell you so badly about it, but it's not quite time for that. So we are working on so many things, and this is the key to what that future is going to hold. And we can't wait for you to see the end result. Now, again, you're not going to see this part. You're not going to be building nodes and using these connectors yourself in the early stages. But this is what's going to power character management, the character builder, the digital character sheet for all these great games. All right, let's move on. We have our friends at Idle Champions. They have been great partners with Demiplane, and we have a couple of Heroes of the Plains alumni that are going to be in an incredibly cool streaming event. And I notice now, as I'm looking at this poster, that we do not have the dates for this. So I'm hopeful that someone can find these dates and get them into chat for you. I believe that it starts tomorrow, though. I think it is July the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. So it's going to be 3 episodes. Those are all going to air in the morning Pacific time. The 13th, 14th, and 15th, I think they will replay the same day at 2 p.m. Pacific time. But Idle Champions presents The Black Pits. And you see that we have Brib Steel Marrow is making an appearance here. Freely, you might know that little halfling. And then we also have a Whittle that is going to show up here. So it's really great to be asked to do this and to be able to play again with so many friends, from Heroes of the Plains and other friends. This is going to be a game run by the incredible Mark Meir, and so check this out. I believe starting tomorrow. Again, hopefully, Melly and some of the mods have me covered in chat there. And then as part of the hype around the event, I also am pleased to share. I mean, look at Briv right here. I mean, he is just styling, profiling. When I was talking to the incredible, art and design team at Idle Champions about what a gladiator Briv outfit might entail. So, for those Briv fans out there, longtime Briv fans, you can see that he has less clothing than he did in his other, skins that are available in the game. Briv kind of shed clothing more and more throughout all the various levels and experience that he had. And then you do see that since Steadfast, his weapon, can transform into any kind of weapon. He has the glaive form of that going right here. And then finally, he got a haircut. And so we talked about, then an kindly older gentleman with, really big glasses and a giant, like, buzz saw looking apparatus came in and cut his hair kind of like a thunder god that we know and love. And so I think that they nailed all of this. They are an incredible team over there at Codename Entertainment. And so you can pick up the Gladiator Briv skin and feet pack. I believe that's going to be available tomorrow at the start of the show. And so sorry for some of the fuzziness on the details. But either way, hang around for what's going on with the show, and you're definitely going to find out how to secure Gladiator Briv, that skin and feet pack that is coming. All right, and then finally, upcoming. So the character builder, I have changed the way that we're presenting this information. And one of the reasons that I'm doing this is some of the context that I've talked about here in this dev update about how the character builder and digital sheets, so character management here for Demiplane and the Nexus platform, it really is a that's the high top level feature, and we are supporting a variety of games within that. And so that is the thing, that yes, we are absolutely creating a character builder and digital character sheet for Pathfinder, but we are also doing this for Vampire. We will do this for Hunter when that comes out a little bit later. I'm trying to make sure I'm going through everything that we've actually publicly announced where I don't get myself in trouble. We will do that for free league games that we're going to support. As we potentially move forward into however playtesting is going to shake out for Marvel. Once we get to a stable place there, we would also do this for Marvel would be the idea there. So ultimately, character builder and digital sheet for Pathfinder, that is our pilot. We are absolutely, as I showed you, in the build phase on that. And then on Vampire, we're starting to look at flows and making sure that we capture the unique needs of that game. As I said earlier, we are very much looking forward to moving on to the build phase for Vampire and the build phase for some of the free league games as we get started there, because once we are able to do this for Pathfinder and provide a working solution, an elegant solution for that, it's going to be that domino effect when we start to get to these other games. On the game content side for Pathfinder, we are going to be catching up those adventure paths. So it's starting with Bloodlords, as I've talked about for a couple of weeks here. But then we are going to catch up some of the or all of the other adventure paths. And since I got several questions about this, I did want to say that we do have long-term goals to have bounties, Pathfinder Society scenarios for organized play, all the other content that is out there. We do have plans to incorporate that over time. We're trying to figure out, from a business model sense, what makes the most sense there, and also trying to figure out, from a priority standpoint, what is most important for the team to focus on. And right now, this isn't the short-term priority, but I did want to confirm that we have plans to incorporate that over time, and we'll provide more updates as we have them there. And then on the vampire side, all of the current releases that we have out there. So all these great books that Renegade has been putting out recently, we after Chicago by Night and Cults of Blood Gods, we're going to be catching all those up as well. And then the intent and goal is definitely before the end of the year, but I'm hopeful within this quarter that we're able to catch everything up. And from there, we would do day and date, street date releases with everything on the vampire side as well. So those are our internal targets. And again, don't take that date completely to heart, because those are targets, and sometimes even though we're trying to, we don't quite hit those targets. But hopefully that does give you an idea that I can tell you with a very high level of confidence that before the end of the year, everything will be caught up. But I am hopeful that this quarter it will be as well. And then finally, as I kind of teased at before, I hate doing this tease, but this is all to say that we are working on another games Nexus that I am really, really excited about. And it's something that we can't talk about yet, but it's mainly to say that it is another thing that the team is working on, and it's just representative of the really hard work that everyone here at Demiplane is putting into. Very proud of the team. We have just great team members. It is a joy, a privilege, and I'm not saying that sarcastically in any way. It is. I love working with the people that we work with, and it is so fun to see the shared vision taking hold and everyone really taking ownership over making all of this stuff happen, and the passion that is behind all that. We are fans of this stuff. We play these games. We are making things that we want to use ourselves. And when you have that kind of fit between your team and what you're making, some really, really special things can happen. I've seen it before. I'm seeing it again, and in many ways, it's even better. So really, really stoked to be working with such a great group of people, and I can't wait for you to see everything that we are working on. And then finally, we do have a new episode of Children of Erte tonight. We have actually hit kind of a pre-recording tunnel for a while, because Deborah had a play that she actually has been in for some time, and I read a review, and it looks like she did a great job with that. But tonight we are going to be live again, so I don't know what's going to happen, and it's very exciting to see how it all shakes out. So join us for Children of Erte tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. Whew, okay, I think that is everything. We can move to questions. So if you have questions, you can ask those in chat. Put the word question in front, and we'll go from there. So Cassius335, anyone else waiting to see how Marvel handles ID switching, Banner and Hulk? So far, the answer seems to be they don't, which is a little disappointing. Yeah, I understand some of that disappointment for sure. And one of the things that I will emphasize is, so first of all, I cannot officially represent the game itself. I am not part of the actual game design team for what's going on for Marvel, but I am a fan, and I've played it, several times. And what I will say is, I would emphasize that it is still a playtest, and I know that there are plans for, and this isn't sharing any insider info, but I know that there are plans to provide a variety of other subsystems and ways that those things might work. And so, let's maybe kind of hold the candle for that one, because I agree it's a very interesting mechanic, and something that's really important for some of those characters, like Dr. Jane Foster, for instance. It's a very, very central part of what's going on with the mighty Thor. So yeah, that's what my unsolicited personal opinion would be on this. That let's wait and see, because I do think it's still early in the playtest. Phoenix D Black, I hope your node library supports comments and grouping. I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to see what I can say here because I don't want to be too long-winded. I'll just say yes. I will just say yes is what I will say for now. Yeah, that's it. Cassie's 335. Adam, the Idle Champions Twitter has this week's schedule up. Black Pit's dates included. Yes, that's it. I bet by this point that we had that posted in chat there. If anyone wants to find that, absolutely hit the Idle Champions Twitter. And I can't wait to see what happens with the Black Pits because I mean that is Briv Steel Marrow's jam right there. Just some nice fun combat just because that fits Briv to a T. Jadask, how does the Demiplane video play client interact with platforms like YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch? Will it be easy to stream games held on Demiplane to a wider audience? This is a great question. And the short answer for now is that it doesn't interact with those platforms in any way, just as Zoom and some of the other video platforms out there don't have formal integrations that happen between those platforms. We have talked about, and again, this would be super long term, but we have talked about the possibilities of almost like a Stream Now type experience, similar to what you can do with PlayStation or whatever that would be. It's not on any kind of short-term or mid-term priority list. But at the moment, what we're focused on with the video player is the best experience that you can have playing tabletop role-playing games with your group. So the streaming parts of that, if we see that there's enough demand for that, that might be a step that we take in the future. But at the moment, we're really focused on just making sure that when people connect to play, that it is stable, that it works. So for instance, one thing that you'll see with our video player that I think is really, really great, because as much as I've used it, in the last year and a half or so, I have seen this come into play so many times where if someone hits a spot where I hit a spot where my kids are playing, I don't even know what they play at this point, but I'm going to say Fortnite just as a representation of the dozens of games that they're playing, that eat all the bandwidth. And so, I have a little bit of an internet issue. And what Demiplane's video is going to do is it's actually going to drop video in prioritizing audio, which is something that I think a lot of people don't think about all the time. But honestly, when you're playing these games, you can get by without seeing someone, but it's going to be really, really hard to get by playing the game if you can't hear everyone. And so it's just little things like that where we are tailoring to the tabletop role-playing experience, where some of the other video platforms don't have the luxury of being able to do that because they are trying to tackle different use cases. And so really, really happy with our video client. And for instance, we use it for our streams. We will use it for Children of Erte tonight, and it has proven to be really, really stable for that. So it doesn't have every feature that anyone might ever want, which can be said of all of the platforms out there, because it's incredible. After you've streamed a little while, like I have, you hear so many ins and outs of vMix and Zoom and Microsoft Teams and Google Meet and all the different possibilities out there. And if you have that matrix going, every single one of those platforms is missing something in some of the columns. And I think that the really important thing that we're trying to do with Demiplane video is to make sure that the check box is firmly checked in all the columns that are going to be most relevant to playing a tabletop role-playing game with your friends, virtual, remote or what have you out there. So yes, possibility for streaming things at a later date. Right now, we're really focused on making sure that we can get people connected and give them a good experience while they're playing. Let's see. Demibot really is, I think Demibot is just drunk, because Demibot keeps duplicating questions. We're gonna have to send Demibot into the shop this week. I said I was gonna do it last week, and I didn't get around to it, but we're gonna see what we can do. All right, let's see. You're probably hearing my dogs. I think somebody came to my door. Um, yeah, I can't tell you more. So Cassius 335 redacted. Please do tell us more. Not possible right now, I'm afraid. But soon. All right, Neurolancer, you have said in the past that you wanted to release content sharing along with character management. Is that still the case? No, it is not still the case, but that news should not be as disappointing as you might initially think that it is. So, we'll share more about this, but content sharing is something that is not necessarily coupled to character management the way that we're thinking about things today, but that does not mean that it is coming after character management. So I think I removed all your possibilities, and you probably know what that means now. But we'll share more soon. Neurolancer, would you work on encounter management after character management, or that come after a few next releases? Encounter management is something that is definitely on the roadmap, and I would put that more on the midterm roadmap right now. What we are really, really focused on right away is making sure that we really, really nail the character management experience. So that is the really important thing that we have got to get right. And really everything that follows is subsequent to that. And so what that means is we're going to get character management out there. We're going to get the feedback in early access. We're going to make sure that it is scratching all the itches that it needs to scratch and doing what groups and players out there need it to do. And then we're going to start setting our sights on some other tools that are going to help make play more convenient. Encounter management is absolutely one of those things, but it would come in that kind of a phase. All right. I think that after getting rid of all the other duplicates from Demibot, that is it. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Really appreciate it as always. Check out Children of Erte tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific on this channel. And I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Later, Gators.